and for a change, we're actually on air at the right time. We're not like a couple of we're actually on time. It's rather scary. If you are watching this on YouTube or you're watching this back, we're waiting on some viewers to come and join us, and then I'll crack on with the usual introduction. But if you are watching straight away, you're rather eager, aren't you? That's nice. Hopefully everything's okay with you. We'll do a full introduction in a minute, but just in case you are just jumping in and you're not too sure what you're watching, this is a live Comic-Con Hangout. Do jump in on the Q&A for more discussion, and of course we'll crack on with that. But we're waiting on a couple of viewers, and also just check where's my Q&A. No, I just want to make the Q&A's up and running. Right, let's do it. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Talking Comic-Con with an Englishman in San Diego. I am an Englishman in San Diego. My name is Leonard Sultana. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It is the 17th of May 2015 with 51 days to San Diego Comic-Con 2015. Just over 7 weeks. Was it 7 weeks or 8? We've got 7 weekends, 7 more of these hangouts to go between now and Comic-Con. And it's starting to heat up now because we had news that a number of the panels were starting to get allocated by Comic-Con, Comic-Con International. So people who had applied for panels were now starting to get information about that. They're not allowed to reveal any information yet, so as many times as we kind of prod them on social media, we haven't got any information just yet, but they're starting to roll out, which means the special guests are done, the panels are getting allocated. Next thing you know, it's going to be the cover. I think that'll be the next thing to do. You'll get the cover and you'll get the T-shirts. That's going to be very interesting because I want to see what they've got lined up, especially to try and top that Babs Tarr Batgirl cover, which they did for WonderCon, which was gorgeous. What else have we got? Well, we've got you guys. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Do jump in on the Q&A on the Google Plus event if there's any questions that you want to ask about what we're talking about and just generally about Comic-Con. It is all a round table thing. It's all about you. If there's anything that you want to ask today, please do.
Especially about the New York Comic-Con ticket sales.
Coming, don't worry. So yes, if you were taking part in that ticket sale, whether you were successful or not, either way, do jump in and let us know what your experience was on Wednesday, for the New York City Comic-Con ticket sale, which plenty of things to talk about coming up. So jumping on the Q&A, you can also talk to us on Twitter if you use the hashtag CupOTSDCC. We would love to hear from you on there as well. You can interact that way. Right, we've got ourselves 2 great guests who have joined us today. First up is my usual partner in crime. We've got Alyssa Frank from friendsofcci.com forum. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello, Leonard. How are you?
I'm fine. I didn't take part in the NYCC kind of noise, so I don't have the kind of pallor of many people who kind of definitely had the blood leave their face throughout the course of the stress. What was your experience?
I was buying for myself and my son who are interested in going. I was part of a group because we have a number of people who help each other out on the forum for ticket sales, and in general it looks as though the experience of our group as a whole is very good. It took some while, and I personally had 3 computers going, and I had errors on each screen. So obviously I was being shunted to one particular server, and I had a variety of errors. When I got into the waiting room, to checking out, to accepting my credit card, all of it. I had them all, even the white screen.
Well, there is a whole host of discussion people's stories. So don't worry, we're going to cover that. But Alyssa also had her fair experience. We also have Michael Leventhal, who's joined us. Hello, Michael. How are you, sir?
Hey, Leonard. How's it going?
I'm fine, thank you. Michael, it's got to be said, is looking a little bit drawn right now because he's just had some rather upsetting news of his own. Because what were you trying for? What were you trying for?
Well, right now, if any, and there are a few people on the FOCCI forum, is Gen Con sales. So, if you're not aware, Gen Con's a gaming event. It's in Indianapolis, Indiana. And what happens is it's also staged kind of like San Diego. There's a few different things. So getting a badge is actually the easy part. Like right now, you could still get a badge to the event. That's not the hard part. The hard part is today, where all the events go on sale. So there's about 9,000 events that they put up, but you have to get in a kind of a queue the same way that you would get in a queue, you know, for regular tickets, and then hope that your events don't sell out. So unfortunately, I just got locked out of one of the big events that I care about the most, which is AEG's Big Game Night. So I don't know. Hopefully they'll add some tickets later, because it is a kind of thing where people can give up their tickets.
Okay.
So, but now we're looking at.
Well, what we'll hope is Mike isn't going to break down in tears. Random.
Well, I've already lost the opportunity, so I don't think they'll go that far. But
right. Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Alyssa and Mike, for joining us. This run of Hangouts between now and San Diego is now being sponsored, and we'd like to thank Dark Bunny Tees for supporting us between now and San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you very much indeed. Do check out darkbunnytees.com. What we're going to be doing is giving a chance to win a T-shirt, a T-shirt from Dark Bunny Tees live on the Hangout, and you can do that right now. And it's a random draw. We're not going to be doing any questions. All you have to do is just tweet me. Just tweet Dark Bunny Tees giveaway. Okay, that's all you have to. That's the hashtag Dark Bunny Tees giveaway. Okay, just tweet that, and we'll basically do a bit of a random number generator at the very end of this Hangout, and we will be giving away a T-shirt away at the very end, and we'll also be giving away a promo code over the next 7 days, but we'll tell you more about that in a little while. But if you do want to take part, unfortunately, I've just seen Michael has just entered. Unfortunately, you are a guest on the Hangout. You are not allowed to enter. Michael, sorry, man. I'm just piling it on for you today, man, aren't I? But
I thought I'd squeeze it in.
Okay.
You wouldn't notice.
Though he was the first one to get his entry in. So, Dark Bunny Tees giveaway. Okay, that's the hashtag. And before the end of this Hangout, we'll be giving away a T-shirt. And there we go. But there's also been another competition that we ran last week. This was for the Sherlocked party that's being held on Friday the 10th of July between 7 and 10 p.m. at the San Diego Central Library. It's taking over 2 balconies overlooking Petco Park and Gaslamp with free buffet, cash bar, themed drinks, photo booth, merch, giveaways, raffle, tons of games to win free stuff, free music on the balcony, and past guests have included Stephen Moffat, Sue Virtue, and Mark Gatiss. This has been run by the Baker Street Babes, and they were very, very generous to give us a pair of tickets to give away. And they asked what was the name of the meat company in Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hounds of the Baskervilles. Thank you so much to everybody who entered over the last 7 days. But it's time to draw a winner. And we've done a random number generator before we started. And the winner is, on Twitter, Yolanda. That's at YCandelas. That's Candelas. I hope I pronounced it right. Congratulations, Yolanda. You have got yourself 2 tickets to this amazing event. It looks like it could actually be quite a big one as well, considering that, like I say, Stephen Moffat went, I believe, 2-3 years ago. He absolutely had a blast meeting all the Sherlock fans. And he may be in town this year. We will come
What is
we may sorry?
What was the rumor for that? Sorry, you're teasing me.
We'll come back to this. Don't worry. We're on it. We're on it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so congratulations, Yolanda. We'll be in contact soon, but you are the winner of the Sherlock Party tickets. Congratulations. Right. Let's crack straight on with it then. So I am not taking part in the New York City Comic-Con. It's something that I would like to do. I'd still like to even possibly go this year, as possibly I've applied for press, I've heard for nothing, but at the end of the day, I don't even know if I can actually afford to go, because at this point, things are still kind of burgeoning for me, and San Diego is my only North America trip that I can certainly nearly afford. Sorry. So, New York City Comic-Con, however, has definitely grown to become, if not the second most prominent pop culture con in North America. It's on a par to San Diego. I mean, the press certainly would like to say that it's bigger with the amount of tickets sold. But that's down to the sheer amount of people wanting to go. And on the badge sale, the ticket sale this week, it all didn't go sweetness and light. Let me very quickly read an announcement that came through. This was from Lance Festerman, who's the Senior Vice President at ReadPop. He stepped up to address what went wrong. This has come from bleedingcool.com, by the way. This is the announcement he put. On Wednesday at noon Eastern Time, we put tickets for the 10th edition of New York Comic Con on sale, and after months of preparation and close working sessions with our ticketing vendor, we almost immediately saw something was not right. I know you saw it too. This letter is an attempt to help you understand what happened, and while still might not get you the ticket to NYCC that you wanted, we hope it will provide you at least some portion of the explanation you deserve. The demand for tickets at noon was roughly quadruple what we experienced in 2014. Those who were attempting to buy tickets in the queue know that it took several hours to move through the queue and received several error messages along the way. This was a direct effect of an unexpected and unforeseen slowdown of the system. What is important to note is that regardless of the slowdown and error activity, when the queue opened up at noon, there were already more individuals in line than there were VIP, 3-day, 4-day, and Saturday tickets combined. This means...
Can I...
Oh, let me just finish this Let me finish this sentence. This means beginning at 12:01, demand had already outstripped the supply of tickets. Thus, even without the challenges we experienced unexpectedly, there was not a guarantee that people in line at 12:01 would receive the exact ticket types they craved. The queue slowdown lasted till about 3 p.m. Okay, we'll cover that, and he also then covers ticket resellers, which... whole other aspect of this. Now, like I say, I wasn't involved in the ticket sale, so I'm going to now pass it straight over to Alyssa. Where do you want to start?
With regards to the 4 times the quadruple number that Lance quoted, I'm not sure if that's if that's accurate. I fully believe that there were 4 times the amount of computers accessing the ticket sale mechanism, but a number of people had 2 computers going. So it very well could be that half of the people had 2 computers, which would increase that by an increment. So I think that's a little... That's a little confusing, would be how I put it.
I was going to say the same thing. That's been one of my points throughout this week, is that I had over 4 sessions just myself, and I'm just trying for myself, you know. No extras, you know, for any other purposes. So I think that number is inflated. Now, again, they did sell out the show, or close to sell out. They may have some Thursdays left. So there was almost an equal amount of demand for supply, but there were a lot of extra people just, I mean, and you could go on your many people just had their cell phones running, you know, or their tablets. I mean, who doesn't have a cell phone, a tablet, and a computer at least, and had at least, you know, a few sessions just themselves trying, you know?
Yep, exactly. And I mean, and it's also interesting that Lance is taking the heat for a show clicks problem, which is kind of interesting to me, is that he's taking ownership of it, which is a good thing, as far as I can tell. I mean, he doesn't have to say, I mean, because they actually went through, to my understanding, and did all of the load testing. That they did their due diligence. ReadPop did for show clicks to make sure that they could handle the load. I mean, they had a large ticket sale for PAX, which I think is maybe 2/3 the size, and I don't know, you'll have to correct me on that number, 2/3 the size of New York Comic-Con, and that went smoothly. And the PAX people are I'm sure they had multiple computers going too. So it's interesting that he's stepping forward and taking this taking this on, and they do seem to be helping, which is nice. The ReadPop people seem to be helping the people who've had some problems, who got the error screens.
What kind of support have they been giving out?
I know one person in particular who was very quick, and this gets into a whole nother issue of the San Diego people, San Diego Comic-Con people, knowing the process. I think this particular person turned around and submitted a screenshot before the end of the sale. So she had her screenshot submitted by 1 o'clock, and they turned around and offered her a ticket, and she is flying out from San Diego. A longtime forum member, Transmute Jen, is flying out from San Francisco to New York Comic-Con for her first convention. So they took care of her, and they did it promptly. I think she found out yesterday. So they're starting to go through people who submitted screenshots. They're asking for things like IP addresses and various other documentation.
Sure.
So you can't just say, "Oh, I didn't make it," and they'll give you a ticket. That's not going to happen. You gotta prove it.
What was the kind of timetable throughout the course of the Wednesday? Because I started reading. I mean, it's very similar to the San Diego Comic-Con badge sale, in that the doors opened and almost immediately I started reading crashes, page locks across the board. What was the kind of timetable for the badge sale, or for the ticket sale? Sorry.
It was a bit slower, I think, this year. I think the server issues were a problem for some people. I know, because I saw some people buying VIP passes as late as 12:30, whereas I know last year they were pretty much gone by 12:03, 12:02. So somehow people were, having problems with it, get the tickets in their cart, or then have an error and they couldn't finish it, or other issues. I know that's had to have been a factor in why some of the VIPs were available that far in to the show.
Mm-hmm. I would second that. I know that I had three sets. I had 3 sets of VIP tickets in my cart at 3 different occasions. One set of tickets in my cart on 3 different occasions, and on none of those 3 different occasions was I able to complete the sale. And I got to the bitter end. Aside from the white screens and all of that, I got to the bitter end and put my credit card number in, and it wouldn't authorize my card. It just couldn't make that final leap to it.
I did see a number of things. Like I say, I mean, it wasn't just on one certain page. I mean, at least with San Diego, it was pretty much a load-bearing thing from the word go.
Mm-hmm.
New York City Comic-Con, it did seem that there were elements pretty much across the board which just kind of were throwing people a whole bunch of issues. And like you say, even at the payment screen.
I can say, though, I didn't have quite those issues. I don't know. I'm very grateful. I'm happy, but I submitted. I was in the queue. 12:01. I didn't get through. You know, I wasn't at the buy page, so I was very worried. Even by 12:03, I was like, oh, that's it. I'm screwed. But by 12:06, I hit the buy page and everything was left, and I'm just, you know, got through. Somehow I was on a good server and I didn't experience any issues, you know, and went right through.
Yeah, I think that it really was a luck of the draw on what server you got put in. And as a friend who is familiar with server technology said, and this was directly about show clicks of the load balancing. What load balancing? Except he used some negative, some bad words. that it didn't, you know.
Sorry, that was me attempting to do a Steve Rogers Captain America language.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I can't do that. It works if it's an American accent. Okay. Just a couple of comments that's coming in on the Q&A before we move on to the next heading that you want to do, Alyssa. This is from Michael Muklin. Once again, do jump in on the Q&A and do let us know what your thoughts are. And just jump in, of course, whatever you want to say. Honestly, 4 times, this is obviously referring to the amount of load that it was saying. Whatever, this is a non-profit company that should know, based on their experiences and how tickets for San Diego Comic-Con is run. He's basically stating that for New York Comic-Con, for Repop, he feels that it's shoddy work by them. Get a scalable system up, get it right, and take this issue out of the discussion. And so, okay, I understand.
With all due respect to Michael, and he has an absolutely great point that Repop has the money to do this. However, they thought they had. So it was a show clicks problem, number one. Show clicks totally underestimated it. And there, just like I've said about San Diego, a number of other places, like the Olympics, like the desert, what's the desert thing that happens? Yeah. You know, I mean, there are so many other companies, and it's a denial of service. I mean, this is plain and simple. I mean, overcome that.
We've even had a comment from Angela Copley. Gallifrey won. It's a small show, and they had to make pictures on their ticket sales. They had to resort to email entry for a chance at passes. At the end of the day, pop culture is now such an explosive thing worldwide. It's going to be swamped, whatever scale of the event.
If anybody can solve the problem, though, it's Repop, because they've got the resources to be able to do this and to come up with a situation. There was, in the Geek Wire, there's an article about the PAX sale, which somebody, I think Betsy Wooden had mentioned, a comment about that, where they had brought up the possibility of doing a lottery, and they also brought up the possibility of doing tie your name to the ticket idea. And what Lance said was that it would take, probably given the amount of people that go to New York Con or to PAX, it would take 2 to 3 hours to get everybody through the line. Just like, you know, at New York Con, I can only assume that it would take 3 to 4 or 5 hours to get everybody to pick up their ticket. So are the New York fans willing to put up with that is a huge question.
Sure.
I'll pose that to Mike, since he's a New York resident, putting him on the spot.
I mean, I think San Diego does it well. I don't know. I've now been to San Diego for 2 or 3 years. For me, I line up early on Wednesday. I've only had preview on 4 days, so I don't know the experience of individual day tickets. But speaking for myself, I'll wait online. They get us in 2 or 3 hours early, and then we're just waiting for the doors to open. So I think there is room for, if they said, will open the doors at 8 a.m., but the show floor doesn't open till 10, so they have 2 hours to start, filtering out tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
but where are they going to put the people once they get their ticket?
Well, that queue hall is very, very large. I think they could have.
Good point.
As they're allowing people in, they could have kind of, how they had chutes at each for the lines. Just have a whole chute of 100, 200 people just scanning badges, and you just go in to the next available person. The same way that San Diego works it.
Yep, that's true. That would make a lot of sense. But another thought would be to actually have a preview night.
Well, yeah, I have to admit though, I think they're gonna get back to a preview night. I think it's only 3-4 years away, maybe even less, before they add another day to it.
Because if they did a preview night, then they could have a badge pickup at say 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning, for example, and have a whole 5 hours so people can come and pick their badge up.
Yeah.
Okay, that looks like beer.
I am about to get to that. This is not exactly a cup of tea. This is a pint of beer with the New Yorker today.
Fair enough.
Sorry. I see how easy distractible I am. Shiny squirrel. Oh, that's so cool.
I meant to get to it a bit earlier, but yes, we are here with a New Yorker.
As we get closer to San Diego Comic-Con, I can see us turning into a.
Anyway, what I was trying to say is if they did a preview night, then they could have a pickup time of 5 or 6 hours on Wednesday during the day, and people could line up or not, so people could pick up a 4-day ticket or a 3-day ticket on Wednesday afternoon without having to wait in line on Thursday morning or Friday morning.
I'm curious what the financials of that is, because the difference, obviously, is that it's a convention center in New York City, and obviously, as a commercial enterprise, Repop are putting a lot of money into hiring that venue. I'm wondering what another day would actually cost to put into practice. Quickly, a couple of more comments. Number one, people were saying that it's Burning Man.
Yes. Thank you.
There you go. Got a bit of a correction. Michael Ruddy, I used to exhibit at New York Comic-Con 2 years ago. A 10x10 foot booth was $1,350. It's now $1,600. So I mean, it's obviously the prices are going up, and it is becoming more of a commercial enterprise. This is in regards to just applying for the tickets. This is a tale from Karma Savage. Hello, Karma. Thanks very much for joining us. Once I got through the New York City queue at 1:01 p.m., I had an error message at every single page of the payment process. Refreshed each page as I went through, and then the survey and terms and condition in the middle of the payment process was also baffling. It does seem that a lot of people have been slightly confused with a number of just the way that they tried to clarify things even while it was all happening. Michael is saying again, I think Repop deliberately made it confusing to even purchase tickets, even when they sent out a direct link during the day. Now, tell me how this worked, because now I'm guessing that an email link went out, but then did it go to an email link which was just mailed out to people? How was the process? What was the process?
I remember seeing the link actually tweeted and on Facebook. Maybe there was an email, but I recall it on their social media. And their website was having problems also. At one point, you couldn't even log on to their website to find that link. So if you didn't have social media, you weren't getting it.
I think they sent out the link in their defense to so that people wouldn't have the problem of getting it off of the website. So it would be readily available, and they'd be able to just click through to it. I used the link, and it dropped me straight into the waiting room for all of my the 3 devices that I had going. So it was a smart idea on their part to take the New York Comic-Con website out of the picture, so they didn't have any click-through problems. Google Analytics or any of those kind of issues. They were not prominent because of that. And I don't think that anybody had the link before the actual sale until they started sending it out earlier that day. I think it was all on the up and up and straightforward.
Fair enough.
Actually, Leonard, I have a question for you. When did you submit your press pass?
Who, for myself?
Yeah, for yourself.
I did. I have submitted it late. This was about 2 weeks ago.
Really? And you haven't had a reply?
Not yet, no.
Because I actually submitted myself also, but I got a reply by the next morning.
Yes, but you know them, Mike.
I don't know everyone at Repop. I know 3/4 of them.
Great.
You get to go to all of the Defend the Beer parties as he drinks another. This is consolation for not getting the panel at Gen Con, right? The beer.
Okay, a couple more comments from the Q&A. Kurt Lecaro, I submitted a screenshot and filled out the form yesterday. They asked for the IP address and what browser I was using and the time and if I was using Windows or Android. It was frustrating to take the survey. I don't doubt that. What one thing to actually have to do that, it's very disconcerting. Tristan Stewart, I could have bought 4-day passes for my friends, but was waiting to hear back from them. No reply, so no tickets. The experience overall was terrible. So many site issues. Okay. I think the one thing that I do want to move on to is the next thing that's covered in the release from Lance, and this is regarding the scalpers. Now, the release states, now let's talk about those ticket resellers. We don't like them either. We know you see tickets available on reseller sites, and we know how frustrating that is, especially if you did not get the tickets you wanted. And please know, we continue to be aggressive about doing all we can to deal with those resellers. We've further limited quantities this year. We will comb through these sites and attempt to get tickets removed. We review the data of ticket purchases and cross-check names, addresses, email, credit cards, and then remove and ban where we find people trying to buy tickets over the maximum allowed. In short, we are as frustrated by people selling tickets at an inflated price as you are. Okay, what can you do about those reselling tickets? Don't buy them. First of all, it creates a market for people to price gouge, but just as important, we will be cancelling as many of those people we can identify as ticket resellers, meaning those trying to cheat the system and buy large quantities, so you may be buying a worthless piece of paper. Someone has put up on the Q&A something that they've been looking at. Yeah, this is from Cat Lily. As of 1 p.m., and I'm not too sure if you're East Coast or West Coast, Cat, so I'm guessing 1 p.m. East Coast. Sunday, there are 258 tickets currently on sale on eBay. It's a ridiculous situation. If anything, it's something that San Diego are also combating as well. But the thing about New York City is it's an actual ticket. It's a little bit more. It's not so much a code. It's not so much an email registration you get through. It's an actual ticket. What's your thoughts, guys?
A ticket. Go ahead, Mike.
No. I was going to say I was going to let you start. So start.
Okay. Tickets versus badges. That's the huge thing. Badges can be repossessed. I'm not sure if tickets can be repossessed if they're found to be. They can be confiscated, whether or not they're found to be bought by scalpers. So you've got the two standard ways of dealing with tickets. You've got attaching a name, the badges, attaching a name to it, and if that doesn't work, then randomizing, we talked about the randomizing of the waiting room, that issue too. I kind of lost myself in the middle of that. Sorry, guys.
Welcome to my world.
Yes.
Well, I'll jump in. All right. It may be a bit long, so if I start rambling, cut me off.
Absolutely.
From my perspective, before they announced the sale, I've been a VIP the last few years. So I actually sent an email to Lance right before when they announced there was no pre-sale, and I said one of my concerns was, you don't have a pre-sale. I think that's a little, wrong. I said, some of your VIPs are not that regular 4-day pass holders aren't some of your most loyal, but I think some of your VIPs have been some of your longer con attendees who have helped, and I think there should be a pre-sale. To which he replied, well, we don't want to, we want as many fans to have a opportunity to buy tickets as possible. And I understand
first.
that, we're yeah. At the same time, I said, yeah, I understand that, but I said, you're still opening up tickets for resale on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, flash forward, and we are where we are. Now, I'm looking, and yes, even if there's 300 listings and 1,000 to 2,000 tickets on eBay, as that article in Wired still even mentions, that's about 1% of the tickets. That still means 90 to 95, 99% of the tickets still went to real fans. So when you think of that in those terms, it's still good. The thing that concerns me, and from my perspective, is when I look at how many VIP tickets are on sale, though, there were at least 23 to 25 listings at one point, and some people had 2 to 3 VIP passes. Now, in previous years, there's been about 1,200 total VIPs. So if you have 100 tickets out of 1,200, that's not 1%, that's 10%. So you just took 10% of your maybe possible last year's VIPs, who are some of your most loyal, some very loyal Rapid fans, and you've just said, well, you know what, it's okay that they went on eBay. That's what upsets me to a degree.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense, and you can't quite argue with those numbers. I didn't know that there was 1,200 VIPs. That's both the UAs and the SA, the standard access and the ultimate access.
I know about 2 years ago, it was 200 to 225 ultimates, and 800, 900, special accesses. That was in 13. In 14, right. It was about the same. Maybe it shifted a little bit. I remember hearing the UAs were very close to the same amount. So, you figure about 1,200, and if you see even, 75 to 100 tickets on eBay of those VIPs, that's 10%, that's, and that could have gone to a pre-sale, Not saying that a pre-sale will completely eliminate eBay, tickets, but I think it would have helped.
Sure.
Yeah. It may very well. The thing that concerned me about how the whole sale went down is that since a lot of people like myself who were getting errors, I had somebody else bought my SA VIP tickets for me, and he had 2 transactions. So I'm automatically, given the wording that Lance said with regards to multiple orders and past the requirement, I'm automatically concerned that one of his orders are going to get canceled, which means my tickets will get canceled. And this is a direct problem of having all of the errors. If I didn't have an error, I would have been able to buy my own ticket, as opposed to having my friend have two transactions.
It does kind of buy into the whole group badge buying process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that we do have at Comic-Con.
Actually, before you move on, Alyssa, that Wired article that you were referring to, I read that also, and though it relates to PAX, they actually do mention buying groups, and they say, you know, one of the reasons they don't give out a lot of advance notice is it allows scalpers, you know, to form a buying group. But it really doesn't also address, you know, buying groups of people who are trying for themselves, you know? I mean, I felt so much more safe having our buying group, you know, helping us, making sure that we were able to get to the show. You know?
Right. And the other issue is the nature of the people. I can't imagine scalpers forming a buying group. I mean, and maybe this is a generalization, but they're all out for themselves. If a scalper can get, you know, X amount of tickets, they're going to take all of them. They're not going to give it to anybody else. The fans, the true, you know, the true, as Lance said, fans first, those people are going to take what they need for them, their spouses, their kids, and they're going to give the next ticket to their buddy at cost. They're not going to charge any extra, and I would love to see a way in the New York process so that fans could sell to other fans at cost. But Lance's, the way it's set up now, it doesn't seem as though that's possible.
No.
One thing that actually annoys me a little bit about the ticket sales is that, say I'm buying, you know, in a group and I'm trying for you and we're both in the queue. I get through first and I add my tickets to the queue. I can't remove a ticket after. I either have to go and purchase whatever I have or give up the entire order. I think that's something they need to kind of work on. Is the ability to, like, modify your cart once you're in. So if I have 10 minutes, but you get in a little bit after me, you know, and you just say, oh, I want to buy it on my own, you know, I don't want to have to deal with, you know, exchanging money, you know, with you or whatever. I think that's something that they also need to look at, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Right. Okay, there's just a couple of things that are coming in on the Q&A. This is from SDCC Crew. Good morning from Sacramento, California. I think it was nice that New York City Comic-Con responded to the issues promptly. It's frustrating that CCI doesn't always do the same. Gladly for that one. That's a good point. Thank you for joining us, SDCC Crew. Alyssa's got it right. This is from Michael. I want to get pronounce his surname right. Michaelian? I'll say Michaelian. Alyssa's got it right. Unless they tie it to a person or a badge, that's really the only way to alleviate eBay sales and auctions. And apparently, this is from Michael Ruddy, the Javits Center is selling their own Comic-Con tickets, and they're also charging more than New York City Comic-Con. There's an article as well. We'll just put that on the top of the Q&A if someone wants to have a look at that. But yes, the Javits Center apparently are selling their own.
I didn't know that.
So there we go. There we go.
Well, we got some reading to do, Mike.
But let's see what else we've got. I think last one. This is Michael Ruddy. I couldn't even get a professional badge this year. In years past, it was easy. I applied for one using my retailer name and my new props Facebook page, and I got denied. So there we go.
One thing about that is I wonder when I have an odd feeling that now that ticket sales are sold out, they're going to see a big influx in people applying for press and pros. I have that feeling.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was nice. I will echo what somebody said. It is absolutely very nice that Lance got out and wrote an obviously well thought out statement in a timely manner. We don't see that from CCI. We don't see it that quickly at all. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of, sometimes we're lucky if we get information from them weeks later on certain issues.
Right. I'm going to do a quick repeat of the Dark Bunny Tees competition. So just to wrap things up, is there anything else about the ticket sale that you'd like to talk about? Or have we talked it all out?
I think that we're going to absolutely see changes down the road. The feeling that I've gotten from people that I've spoken to at ReedPop is that they will change, whether or not they change ticket vendors, whether or not ShowClicks steps up and is able to actually do a sale correctly, whether or not it's tying a name to it or randomized. I know randomized is a bad word, but a randomized waiting room. We are going to see changes next year. I put money on it.
I'll finish off also by saying, I mean, I know. Well, now they're also pushing the fact that, you know, there's no more retailer program, but Midtown Comics is going to have an event in September, supposedly, where they'll still be selling tickets. And while VIPs won't be there, there is still their other show, the special edition NYC, in about 3 weeks from now, June 7th, 6th, and 7th.
I think I saw 21 days.
Yeah. And they will be selling at that show too. I think there'll be a big line for it. I think they're gonna. I actually have a feeling that they're gonna see a spike in their sales to special edition for people trying to get tickets to New York, almost for just that reason.
They're selling, from my understanding, at SE NYC, they're going to be selling 4, 3, and single days. No VIPs. So, if anybody knows somebody who happens to be going to special edition.
Right, what is this? Because you mentioned this event. What is special edition?
It's a low-key comic-focused convention, which I am really looking forward to. This seems like there's some really cool talent coming. I've got a stack of comics about this thick that I'm looking to get signed so far from the talent that was announced a couple of weeks ago. The Spider-Gwen people are going to be there. So, well, you know, I've got to. So I'm hoping that we're going to be able to speak with Mike Anderson. He works with New York ReedPop, and he's going to be taking on the special edition comic event. And I would love to get him on talking about it. Maybe along with CGC and
well, let's put the invite out. Let's get the feelers out there. Let's see if we can get them involved.
You went to it last year, Mike. How was it?
Well, it was fun. It's for people who are familiar with New York Comic-Con. SE NYC was in the Javits Center last year. This year they're at Pier 92, 94. So if you're familiar with New York Comic-Con, Special Edition was basically in Artist Alley. It was essentially just Artist Alley, but it's kind of like a throwback to those smaller house comic shows where it's just, you know, artists and, you know, not a lot of the other booths that are, you know, maybe entertainment oriented but not comic book oriented. So it's purely comic book, you know, art type focused. You know, meet the artists. You know, it's, you know, you're a comic book fan, you're gonna love it. You know. Do they
have a lot of back issue vendors and original art?
They had
vendors.
They had a few people who were there who had back issues. You know, again, because of the size, how big it was. It wasn't like, you know, a lot of places, but they had a few places that had, you know, back issues. And I mean, they have just artist tables who are just selling their original art or taking commission. You know, for me personally, I'm going to go. It's a nice thing for me to do. You know, it's only the passes were, I think, 30 to 40 each day, and the VIPs were 100. And if I see a Broadway play, that's 100. You know, could be over $100 just for 2 hours. So for me, you know, a VIP pass for 2 days, you know, it's worth it to go see some nice art and go and experience it. I've mentioned to them because, I mean, their tagline is comics, art, and culture. So for me, I'm more of a sci-fi fantasy type art person. So I've been pushing, you know, trying to say, well, you should get some more, you know, sci-fi or fantasy artists You know, because actually, if people are familiar with San Diego Comic-Con, they have a whole big fantasy art area. It's actually blocked out. You look at the exhibit floor map, it says fantasy art, you know, this little area, fantasy. So, I mean, there's, you know, they've messaged it in a way that they could grow it, so it's not just, you know, plain comic books, but it could also be, you know, other areas too. But I mean, if I pull out, like, for example, IDW does Dungeons and Dragons comic books, you know, and that's what I read. So I'll read that, I'll pick up an IDW. And for example, I think not this one is Prescott. This guy over here is Steve Ellis, who does a lot of regular mainstream art, but he's also at some of these shows too. So for me, that's why I like to go too. I could get a few autographs even for myself, and it's fun.
Cool. It sounds like a fun. It sounds like an interesting event. It sounds very much like Ape was for San Diego Comic-Con. So,
well, I think. Not so much, because this is a little bit more mainstream. Okay. I'm hoping that we have even, you know, maybe some Marvel, you know, some sort of a Marvel tie-in to it. Maybe not so much the big booth kind of thing, but that they have some little presence there. So I think it's a.
Marvel had a booth last year, but it wasn't like their big San Diego booth. It was just like a small little table, and they had, you know, a little bit of, you know, small giveaways, and I think they may have had a signing or two, but it was nowhere near like the San Diego size.
So it isn't right. So it isn't like Ape in the alternative press aspect of that you were talking, but I suspect that it's in that size range.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you very much indeed for that brief of that. Okay, I do want to repeat the competition that we were running throughout the course of the Hangout, because Talking Comic-Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego, is sponsored and supported by Dark Bunny Tees. Do check out darkbunnytees.com for some fantastic movie-themed T-shirts. Once again, we're giving away a T-shirt by the end of this Hangout, so hopefully in the next 10-15 minutes or so. If you want to very quickly enter this, all you have to do is just tweet the hashtag DarkBunnyTeesGiveaway. That's it. Don't worry, we'll find it. You don't even have to send it to me directly. We'll find it on Twitter. It's just DarkBunnyTeesGiveaway, and that's DarkBunnyTees giveaway, all one word. So there we go. But it's not bunnies, it's bunny. Dark Bunny Tees. Okay. In fact, we've got Karma Savage, who's put on the Q&A. I received my cool-ass Dark Bunny Tees. It was the limited edition Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She can't wait to wear it. So
nice.
Jump in on that. You've got 10-15 minutes. We will be giving away a T-shirt by the end of this Hangout. And if you're watching this after the event, don't worry. We'll give you details of how you can win over the next 7 days. Okay, other things we want to very quickly talk about. Nerd HQ, we have had someone remind us on the Q&A, and it was something we were going to talk about. Nerd HQ volunteer applications are now open. This is something that happened, I believe, 2 days ago. Let's just check on the date of the post from... oh, no, it was yesterday. This was from Nerd Machine. We are excited to announce the opportunity to be a part of an annual Nerd HQ event in San Diego from the 9th to the 12th. Okay, so it gives you an idea of which days are running. It's the 5th anniversary of HQ, and we could not do it without the help of volunteers like you. We look forward to reviewing your application, so please apply. I've got a link here, but I'm not entirely sure if I can actually share to the Q&A. I think Alyssa possibly can, but
I will find it and put it on the Q&A.
That's the nerdmachine.com #P = 16603 if you do want to jump in on that. The thing about Nerd HQ, of course, is that it's not going to be happening at Petco this year because Geek and Sundry and Nerdist are taking over that space, so it's going to be somewhere else in San Diego. No real idea of where that's going to be yet. We've had a couple of clues and hints being posted by the Nerd HQ guys, but nothing yet. As soon as we hear the word, I'm sure that everyone else will as well. So do keep your eyes open on that. And once again, if you do want to jump in on the volunteer for that, please do. Okay. What else have we got?
I would like to clarify one thing. Mike Milken had posted a link saying that the Javits Center was selling tickets, and that's not, from what I can see, that's not actually occurring. I think it's a secondary site that sells tickets, called ticketcenter.com. So similar to a sporting event, a StubHub or that kind of thing. And as far as I can tell, there's quite a few on there, which is annoying. I don't see any VIP tickets, though. So, sorry to interrupt, Leonard.
Not a problem at all. Right, let me just make a quick note of this person who's now entered in the competition. Right. Oh no, I'm making a note of all of them, so we'll do a random draw of that very shortly indeed. Right. This is regarding. Let me just pull up the page, so at least then I've got all the details to hand. This is regarding. Now, someone's calling it a rumor, but it's understandable where it's coming from. This was off the back of Conman. Conman. I think it's Conman. This is the show, the web series that's been put together by Alan Tudyk. It's going to be starring Nathan Fillion, his fellow Firefly co-star, and it's also produced by a gentleman whose name I can never remember. So if you bear with me a second, let me see if I can just this is what I wanted to pull up all the details for. Basically, they did a massive crowdfunding event to get this series up and running. It absolutely went through the roof. Have raised a staggering amount of money to not just produce this series, but a whole bunch of special events as well. Basically, they were asked as part of their crowdsourcing Q&A, so kind of like squirreled off into a corner of the internet. They were asked whether there were going to be panels at Nerd HQ and San Diego Comic-Con, and yes, it's PJ. That's it. PJ Harmer is the guy's name. He was forthcoming, and he did say that yes, there are panels being planned for Nerd HQ and for San Diego Comic-Con, and indeed his answer was the panel is Thursday the 9th. I think it's at 3:45. It's right between Doctor Who and Marvel. Then we'll be press in the morning, and then after, hopefully there'll be a party somewhere, and we'll announce it, and then da-da-da-da-da. At which point everyone just turned, well, I certainly turned around and went, okay, right. So that's the thing.
Between Marvel and...
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Because he doesn't. The one thing about the panels, and like I announced earlier, the panel details are going out to people who have applied for panels. They are not technically allowed to announce anything just yet, purely because they obviously may have changes in the schedule. They may move things around. But these are big panels, and I can imagine that these are going to be pretty much set so far, because they want to try and get. Because now it's a case of the organisers of the panels to organise guests and panel attendees. So, number one, the question is, Doctor Who coming back to Comic-Con, because obviously we skipped last year thanks to Stephen Moffat. I do believe it was down to Moffat throwing his teddy out of the cot purely because of the social media spoilers that went out over the 50th anniversary panel in Hall H. However, he could be back in town to do a Doctor Who panel, because the American screening numbers, certainly on BBC America, are doing fantastically well for Peter Capaldi, and I'm certain that BBC America would love to get Doctor Who on a stage at San Diego Comic-Con. Does this mean that it's going to be... well, it's obviously going to be in one of the big rooms, purely off the back of the names we're talking about here. Conman is going to be a big draw. Nathan Fillion always is. At the end of the day, he hasn't done a panel at Comic-Con for some time. He refuses to do one for Castle, and as far as I'm aware, he hasn't done one at Comic-Con for at least a couple of years. He's concentrated on Nerd HQ. So who knows? So, Doctor Who returning to Comic-Con. In between Doctor Who and Marvel, Now we're guessing, or we're assuming that that's going to be Marvel TV, purely because Marvel Studios, as we know, is not going to be at Comic-Con this year. So, Doctor Who, Marvel TV, Con Man, which is a TV web series. That's a TV lineup, and says to me Ballroom 20. But it's a big, big set of draws, so it could even be Hall H. Either way, nothing's set in stone. This is all just down to one statement that has come from PJ Harmer from Conman. Who knows? And there's everyone who's noted on this. By the way, the quote came from SDCC blog, who took part in the Q&A, and they spotted the quote. So there we go. But still, it looks like we've got Doctor Who back in San Diego, and it looks like Marvel are going to be at the end of the day on a Thursday. I know that a number of people were also a little bit upset that Doctor Who, traditionally, is there a traditional traditional day really for Doctor Who? It was often on the Sunday. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like I mean, people who have only got Sunday tickets, who were fingers crossed for Doctor Who, may be a little bit disappointed because that's where it's going to be. So that's where it's all come from. It looks like we've got things are starting to slot into place, and we're starting to hear clues about where things are going to be, and it's now going to happen between now and the next 6 weeks, because in 6 weeks' time the schedules come out. So that's where we are. Let's see if we've got any. I'm sure we may have. Have we got some comments? Oh, sorry. Yes, this has just put a real link up for the. And then sorry. Okay, that's thenerdmachine.com /nerd HQ-volunteer-application-2015/. Betsy Woodin, maybe Conman is pulling a prank. But I don't think they're going to quite lie to the people who have given them money. It was just a tweet out that, oh yeah, we're in between Doctor Strange and we're going to be in between the pilot screening of season 2 of Agent Carter, and they're going to show half an hour of Doctor Strange. We're in the middle of that. That's a prank. That's a prank. So who knows? When the announcement of this is from Michael, when the announcement that Agent Carter was renewed and Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Daredevil, that whole thing could have been a Hall H thing. Good point. Very good point. So there we go. Thoughts? I mean, are either of you two?
I will admit that when you said Marvel panel, I thought to myself, well, maybe wasn't it James Gunn? Yeah, who made that original site? Maybe he didn't know what he was. Maybe he just was talking off the top of his head, and he didn't really have any inside information, and maybe we will get a Marvel big screen panel.
True. I don't think so.
Yeah. I'll go with yours.
I think the reason why we're not going to be getting anything from Marvel Studios is the fact that we haven't heard anything from Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
They haven't denied it. They haven't refuted it. They haven't confirmed it. There's been total silence. I just
want an Ant-Man. So there you go.
I know. Well,
that's my thing. It sounds intriguing, and I would absolutely love it. And if they were to put it in Ballroom 20, that would be. I have to think that would put it into the Firefly scale of lines. That
would be a hell of a first day.
Yeah. So maybe they are going to put it on. Why did you not think again? Why did you not think it was going to be on Sunday in Hall H?
Well, Sunday is
TV.
What do you mean for Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Well, Doctor Who has been, when they have had panels before, it has been on the Sunday as part of a television run. But with this, it looks like it may have they shifting it to the Thursday to do with this. The other thing that also suspected that it could be Hall H, purely because when on Thursday, and I did mention last week that hey, you could possibly just walk into Hall H, even if it's at the back of the, you can just walk into Hall H. You have cameras like this, that would fill Hall H. Right. It's a big room to have some empty seats. I don't think they want that again. I think they want to fill it at the end of the day, and these would do that. So that's my. It could be Hall H, but then again, who knows? We'll find out when we find out.
It would make sense, but isn't Sons of Anarchy, which is traditionally a Sunday show in Hall H, that's ended, from my understanding.
That was also in Ballroom 20 for a while as well. So.
Yeah, and I mean Supernatural. So I don't know what other shows they would put on the Sunday, and just turn Hall H into a Sunday TV event.
Sure.
You know, I mean, yes, but and not
in recent years.
Yeah, and not compete with the Game of Thrones folk on Friday. I think that's the key thing. In my opinion.
I don't know what Game of Thrones is going to do this year, because obviously George R.R. Martin's not going to be going. Is he writing out his checks for the new island that he's buying?
Can we talk about George R. R. Martin not coming to San Diego for a minute? So let me just tell you, he is, though. I live on Staten Island. He is actually coming to Staten Island for a signing.
Okay, so he's being picky and choosy about where he's going. Fine.
Yes. We have a minor league baseball team, and they have a they're going to have a Game of Thrones night, and he's coming down and doing a signing. In August.
When is this? In August.
Let's see where else.
The only thing I'm gonna, just to dovetail onto that one, I am so glad that he's going to finish that next book. That really is the key thing here in this household, is get the next book done to the printers and published, please. Thank you. It needs to be here now. We want the next book now.
Yeah. Let's see what we've got. Just a couple last comments. This is on Twitter. Are we on schedule for SDCC updates, or is it a bit late this year? Now, I know that Neil Williamson has mentioned this on a group and has stated, oh, are we running a bit late with updates? I don't think we are. I think we're actually on the right schedule. It's just that this year, more than most, we've been getting Comic-Con news from other sources, such as the James Gunn announcement, such as Comic-Con is now that 12-month event, which CCI have mentioned before. So it's felt like we are getting, it's still ramping up. But if you have a look at, I've been looking through a couple of the updates from the last 2 years. We're on the right kind of track for the updates from CCI, from so-and-so. We're getting there. And I think in the next couple of weeks is when things will start to ramp up, because obviously, like I say, we've got the souvenir guide artwork to go, the T-shirts to happen, and then it's schedules, and obviously panels will start getting announced as well. So we're on schedule for announcements. So
there was another question in the Q&A which had to do with the cost of exhibiting at New York Con versus San Diego Con. To my knowledge, which is a couple of years old, I had a gentleman speak to me who had done both cons, and he was a figures vendor. You know, he saw the bubble figures. He was saying that it was 2 or 3 times as expensive to exhibit and have a booth in New York than it was in San Diego. They charge for everything. There's a cost to do everything. To even offload your truck in New York. It's a union hall. with Teamsters, and apparently in San Diego it's a little bit laxer. You've got to have 3 or 4 different unions involved, and in New York versus in San Diego, which is very much more simple. So unless you're a one-person vendor with a couple of carts, small rolling carts full of stuff, you're going to end up spending a lot of money at New York.
Fair enough.
Yep.
Right. Okay. I think that's pretty much us for this show. Once again, I'd like to thank Alyssa for joining us. Thank you very much indeed, Alyssa.
I would like to do a public service announcement, if I may.
Go for it. It's all yours.
How many days before San Diego are we talking?
We are talking 51 days at the moment.
We are at the point where if you have not started your walking regimen, you are going to die in San Diego unless you start it today. Just go out today and walk around the block.
Thank you for making me feel very self-conscious about myself.
Yes. Take your lovely wife out and go for a walk around after dinner.
Okay.
How about that? Carolyn would enjoy the time with you, I think. Maybe. I would assume.
Would this involve me leaving my phone at home? I don't know about that.
Yes.
I don't know. Okay. So once again, people can find you at in the forum. Any news or anything that's happening with the forum at the moment?
We're talking all things New York Con. With regard to that, there's been a very interesting discussion, which I didn't get into earlier, about the differences between the New York ticket sales and the appreciation for the San Diego randomized ticket sales, which is odd given the vitriol that has been afforded San Diego due to the randomized sales, but it's interesting.
How's the Ask David part of the site gone down?
It's going well. There's only been 2 questions answered so far, and I need to send him another nudge. Yeah, which I think that's what it's gonna take from me on a weekly basis.
Fair enough. Well, I think at this point he's going to start getting a bit busy as well. So okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, and thank you very much indeed to Michael Leventhal for joining us. Thank you very much indeed for your time, sir.
Well, thanks for having me.
I'm so sorry that you weren't able to get your event pass. Yeah,
well, it's been a good and a bad week. I got my Comic-Con tickets, and I didn't get this. Hopefully, they'll add some events. They do. Gen Con's odd because they do. You can remove tickets from your queue, and they can always add event tickets to an event. So there's still a possibility. I could still get it. So.
Where can people find you online, sir?
Well, they can find me at FOCCI or at High Def Ninja, and Twitter. I'm all under MLLNY, all 3 places, and that's where you can find me.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. You can find me, Leonard Sultana, at Englishman SDCC, and of course, if you want to get in contact with us throughout the course of the week, we do pay attention to the hashtag CupOTSDCC. So. Let's do a bit of a random.
Yes, there we go. Good.
A number of people who have entered. Thank you very much indeed for taking part. So let me put in how many we've got, and let me hit generate. And we have. Congratulations to Japari Con Doin. Japari? Yes.
Japari! Japari! Yes! Congratulations!
I will get in contact with you via Twitter, and we'll get some details, and we will get that T-shirt off to you. The Dark Bunny Tees boys are very efficient, and you'll probably have it by the end of the week. They're very, very quick like that. However, like I said...
That is a person who has contributed to the community. Japari. Yeah. Thank you.
Don't thank me. Thank the random number generator.
Yes. No. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Japari.
Okay. So if that's Japari, that's the one that we've given away today. However, over the next 7 days, we're also going to give away a promo code, which actually equates to about the same as one of the tees on the darkbunnytees.com website, which means you can win a tee or something against one of their hoodies. They really do put on a fantastic range of clothing. Do check them out, darkbunnytees.com. All you have to do over the next 7 days, just tweet Dark Bunny Tees giveaway. Okay? As of next week, I suspect we'll be using questions. Let's tease it up a bit. But for right now, it's a case of it's a random giveaway. We're also going to put people who applied throughout the Hangout. So don't worry, you are in the mix as well. But over the next 7 days, if you are watching this back on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on the audio version of the podcast, you can enter. Get your phone out now and tweet. Don't even have to tweet to me directly. You don't even have to use the cup of tea hashtag. Just tweet Dark Bunny Tees giveaway, and we'll make a note of your Twitter handle, and we'll put you into the mix. And first thing next week, we'll be giving away that promo code. That's the way it works. Dark Bunny Tees are supporting us throughout the course of these Hangouts all the way through till July. So thank you very much indeed to them. Right, we're back again next Sunday. It's going to be another toolkit, which we did the Hall H1 and the big rooms last week. Next week, it's going to be. Let me just. I'm just going to make sure which one it is, because I don't want to say it out wrong. Bear with me. I don't want to mess this up. Okay. No, it's right. It's off-site and outside Comic-Con. This is where we're going to talk about all the off-site events, parties, things you can see, but not only the nerd stuff, also the things that if you're coming in, say for example you've only got one ticket or a Saturday or a Sunday ticket and you want to see what else is happening throughout San Diego, we're going to do a bit of a rundown of things that you can see and do in a gorgeous city. So that's what's happening next week. We've got two great guests. We've got Chris Sully from the Nerd Foo, and Katrina Dennis is going to be joining us. That's next week. We're back from 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, and 6 o'clock, of course, here GMT. Do take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.